Welcome everyone. I'm Nellan Hunt here in New York for We News. Today with me is Jennifer Valentin. Jennifer, thank you so much for joining us today as we were talking just very briefly about, all of your adventures and that sort of thing. What's your number one passion? I'd rather you say it than me. It sounds better coming from you.
Well, I can't say I have one, equally music and fashion.
Mhm.
But I love the fact that music and fashion kind of go hand in hand a lot these days. I mean, you can't have a great music video without great fashion. So I like the fact that my two passions really blend well together.
When you talk about music, you have been involved mainly in the PR side of it. And for those of us who are completely numb, like me, as to how you promote a musical person, what goes into the PR behind my first record and my first video? How do we launch me and make the world fall in love with me and my music?
Well, that's a great question because a lot of people think, oh, you just get a PR person and then they call MTV or BT and they get your video on there and then it's off to the races. Unfortunately, it takes a lot of work, a lot of calls, a lot of follow-ups, a lot of emails. A lot of times you have to have multiple targets, which is great these days that back in the days, it was just MTV, BT, VH1. Those
Mhm.
were the only platforms available to even put a video. Now you have YouTube, you have a bunch of websites where you can actually launch a video or do a music video premiere. So you can like reach out to endless amounts of media outlets for a music video premiere these days, which it's great that there's more options, but there's also more artists. So a lot of times pitching these media outlets, they go unnoticed sometimes because they get a ton of emails. So as a PR person, my job is to like break down an email pitch that's going to give them interest. So it's going to make that media outlet say, I want to cover this artist, I want to premiere this video. And that's how it starts. Once you get one, it just kind of multiplies and then you're famous. I mean, it takes time, but
Yeah.
the more you get on media outlets and newspapers, magazines, websites, the more people know who you are.
I do not envy you at all.
It's
It,
hard work.
yeah, because to get somebody out there that people will feel that they can relate to, and to then keep them out there, I think it's a lot harder now to remain relevant and present as opposed to back in the day. And I think you touched on something really interesting when you talked about it was just MTV, VH1, BAT. And once you got
Mhm.
that video in that rotation, it was it was in. But now I hear a lot of people talk about the fact that you get the PR part done and then you have to tour and tour and tour and tour.
Mhm.
How do you put a tour together?
The touring is basically an artist's bread and butter. I mean, that's how the artist makes.
Oh,
So the touring usually is not a PR element because usually a tour is held by a booking agent or a manager usually handles the touring aspect, but the PR person can help to get people at the concert venue, like by promoting it, getting newspapers to cover that so-and-so is going to be at Madison Square Garden on this date.
mm.
It actually helps the sales because now the public knows. And it also helps just the general reputation of the artist that people are actually covering this event. So yeah, the touring is a whole different element, which I'm happy I don't have to deal with
I
because,
am happy for you because you have enough to do as it is.
yes, yes. But I do want to shout out all the booking agents. Right now is really slow for them because of the
Yeah.
pandemic. But I think that touring, hopefully it comes back because that's really how the artists make their money. That's literally like the best financial
Yeah.
part of being an artist is the touring.
It's not in, I naively ask, record sales or
Not always.
streams or downloads. You know,
It can
how many
be.
times does a
It's
song need to be downloaded for it to be
right. It
profitable?
well, the thing is, you have to remember everyone has to recoup on their sales. So I mean, so basically the label has to get paid. Everyone that is involved with the artist has to get paid, and the artist sometimes is the last person to get paid.
Wow.
So yeah, so literally the streaming, if you're like Taylor Swift or Justin Bieber or Beyonce, of course you're making so much money off of streams that everyone is comfortably getting paid and the artist is getting tons of the money. But if you're a new artist, that, like you said, you have to really prove yourself and tour. Once you finally break through and get 1 million views on YouTube, you'll get that check from YouTube, you'll get the check from Spotify, Apple. I mean, the more streams and the more numbers and the more views you get, the more everyone gets paid, especially the artist. Yeah, especially if you can get syndication in a music video, in a movie or a show. If you could be, if your song is a theme song for like a show, you're constantly going to get paid every time that show airs. You know, so these are things that like really are drivers in the industry.
Wow. You know,
Mhm.
it's such an it's a brief time we've been speaking, Jennifer, but honestly, it's been such an education
Yeah.
because so many young people now who have these wonderful talents and their parents hear them. And a lot of parents think, once I get you on YouTube, that's it. And you hear these stories all the time about, well, I've been singing for 10 years in the mall down the road, and then
Mhm.
somebody literally walked by, and that
Yeah.
is what made the difference. So you could be doing this for quite a while
Yes.
before you
You
know
blow up.
before you blow up. So as a PR person, where is your position in that career? Is it from the time you meet that person or from the time they decide they want to go to another level?
Usually I'm where the artist has already put out an album, or maybe they've put out a few singles
Hmm.
and they're ready to take their, you know, their music, their brand to a new level. So they have a fan base already, you know, whether it's through their Instagram or through their YouTube. And then they realize, I want to reach a wider audience. I want to like branch out. I want more people to hear my music. That's when they decide, let me get a PR person, because this person is not only going to help other people know who I am, but it's going to help business deals. Because when a business that or company that wants to work with the artist, say it's a sneaker sponsorship, and they see, oh, you have an article in Complex or New York Times. That's pretty cool. I want to work with you, because it's like the more hits that you get in very notable music media outlets, the more businesses and companies want to work with you. And that's also a stream of income for the artist. But not only that, it's another way for people to hear your music. Say for example, you get a sneaker sponsorship with Nike and you're in a commercial, people are going to, you know, say, who is that person? And then it's going to lead to their music. So everything you,
Ah,
yeah, everything you do is going to lead back to what you want it to lead back to, which is people hearing your music, which equals income. And, you know, a lot of artists do it not even for the income. A lot of artists just love music. They love writing, they love singing. They just want people to hear their music. And at
right.
the end of the day, that's what it's all about, you know. So
For those of you out there who are thinking of, getting into music, Jennifer is the person to talk to. You've just had a free education in what it takes to get yourself out there. But speaking of getting yourself out there, we are taking a quick break to get ourselves out there from our sponsors. Thank you and stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Oh, na, na, na. Oh, na, na, na. Eh, eh. If you know, yeah, then you know, yeah. Eh. We all at the ground, yeah. We all in it down, yeah. We open the story. It's Savannah Juve morning. Juve morning. Everybody coming in. Eh. We ready to go, yeah. We gon' make them jump. We gon' make them turn up. We gon' make them whine. We
Welcome back. I'm Nalan Hunt in New York for We News. Today we're speaking with Jennifer Valentin about her passions, music and fashion. We just taught you how to get your music out there. Now we're going to teach you how to look. Jennifer, you've had a fashion blog for quite a while now. Why? How do blogs work? I am curious. I hear about bloggers all the time. How do you start a blog? How do you put out a blog? How do I put out a blog about liking spaghetti? Because everybody who likes something is able to
Yeah.
blog about it now. And I know I just simplified it, but judging from the 3,569 shoes behind you, I know you know something about fashion.
Yeah. It's funny. I started my blog before social media really was as big as it is now. I mean, Facebook was around, but Instagram was not around when I first
Mhm.
started my blog. So these days with social media, it's so much easier to become a blogger because you have the outreach from your social media, and then you have Google Analytics also. So I have a fashion blog. It's called Stiletto Goddess, and like you said, I have a lot of stilettos behind me. But I basically started blogging and because I just loved fashion so much, and it was just kind of a way to release my love for fashion, my love for putting together outfits. I was putting together outfits that I thought were really cool. Sometimes I had nowhere to go, but I just wanted to take a picture. Yeah, I just wanted to take a picture and just show, like, look at my outfit today. And I noticed at that time, a lot of bloggers were doing outfits of the days and showing what they were wearing, how they put stuff together. And they were also showing how you can mix high end with low end and how you don't have to spend a ton of money to look good. And at that time, I was young, so I didn't even have a lot of money. So a lot of the money I was spending was like, at stores that were very affordable, Forever 21 and Macy's and H&M, and I wanted to just do it because I wanted to show young girls. At the time I was in my early 20s. I'm a lot older now. Yeah, I wanted to show girls that you don't have to spend a lot of money. You don't have to like have a lot of outfits. Sometimes you could have like 5 pieces and you can make 10 outfits out of 5 pieces. And
Wow.
so yeah, exactly. That's just the coordination and putting shoes with different outfits. You can make it a completely different look. So I've always had a passion for it. So I thought, why not create a blog on it? And like you said, you can create a blog on anything, like spaghetti. It could be movies. It, it could be about the weather. It could be
Yeah.
anything. So anything you're passionate about, I think blogging is great because even if you're the only person reading that blog, like if it makes you feel good, then guess what? Over time, you're going to get a bunch of people reading it because you're going to find out there's people just like you that want to see this content.
So how do you start a blog? How do you put a blog out? Like you talked about when you started, other platforms weren't out. So how did you start off showing young girls, check out, this nice crop top and this nice jeans and shoes and how do you get a blog out?
Well, there's a lot of different ways to get a blog out. At the time, Google Blogspot is what I host my
Ah,
blog. I feel like that was the most popular one at the time. Nowadays, there's so many of them. I don't even, there's Wix, there's WordPress, there's a ton of websites and they're all free.
oh,
You
oh,
can pay for one. If you want a .com, you do have to pay for that. Usually
okay.
they're really cheap. But yeah, I keep mine on Blogspot because it's very fairly easy to use. I can update my blog on my phone, which I love. And it's very user friendly. So I feel like, it's a great way to do it if you're kind of the person that's not a tech savvy. I'm not the most tech savvy person. So to me, I just wanted something that was very easy to use and looked great. And you can change the backgrounds, you can do all of that. So yeah, I
Hmm.
use Blogspot, but there's tons of ways to start a blog. I would say the few things you need if you're gonna take pictures is a decent camera. These days, your phones take great pictures. iPhones and Androids take
Hmm.
wonderful pictures. So you don't even need a fancy camera. I did have a Canon at the time. I don't have it anymore, but I'm looking to get a new camera soon. But yeah, a good camera, whether it's your phone or not, and just if you like to write, I would suggest writing something and not just posting pictures, because you do need to have a little bit of background as to what you're posting. So
Right.
some people don't like writing, but you do have to write a little bit to be a blogger.
I'm,
So,
I'm
you know,
taking I'm taking notes, Jennifer. I
Yes.
don't know what I could possibly blog about. Yeah.
Well, what about journalism? I mean, you do this, you could do a tips for hosts, people that want to be a host or want to.
See? And then you could be my PR person.
Exactly.
And then
Yeah.
as we're moving on to the next topic, you can style me because Jennifer, you're also an accomplished stylist. How do you
Yes.
figure out what someone should wear? Let me put it to you this way. A long time ago, when I did the news in Trinidad, someone came and did my makeup. Someone said to me, wear this and wear this. And then the one day they were not able to come in, I looked at my hand, I looked at the makeup thing, and I said, it's the same color. And I did my whole face. And I can afford to say this now. And then during the break, my friends were calling me and texting me saying, what is wrong? What is wrong with your face? How do you look like that? And then people said, oh my gosh, are you okay? Are you well? You look ill. And then I had to be taught, this is how you put makeup on. So I really grew an appreciation for a very long time. I'm still not a very big fashion person, but I did grow an appreciation for the people who are able to spot, wear this, not this.
Yes.
How does that come into knowing the right outfit for someone?
Well, that's a good question, because everybody's different. And so I can't always, when I'm styling someone else, I can't always assume they're going to like, or they're going to look good in the things I look good in, or the things I like.
Mhm.
So I generally like to ask the person what their personal style is, whether they're a tomboy or girly girl. If it's a guy, whether he likes to wear baggy clothes or whether he likes more fitted or clean cut. Whatever their style is, I try to kind of use that parameter, but then also kind of spice it up just to the next level.
Mhm.
And that might mean, just wearing a pop of color, something that they don't normally wear, but also complexion and things like height and weight. Those are all things that also come into play, because
It's too much.
it is. I mean, it can be, because it's like, if a girl is shorter, there's some things that won't look as good on her as a taller woman.
Okay.
A taller woman might really look nice in some long pants, whereas a shorter girl might look good in a shorter skirt. So there's a lot of different elements to styling when it comes to styling other people. Like when it comes to styling yourself, that's the easy part, because I know what I like, I know what looks good, and I buy it and I wear it. But with other
I
people,
just grab what's nearest. I literally just reach.
Closest to you, yeah.
Which is not a
these
formula
days-
that you can use at all. But we're going to
days
take a
during the
very
pandemic-
quick break. Sorry to cut you
Okay.
off, Jennifer. We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, here's an exercise. Let's style me for an evening out on the town. Okay, everyone, thank you so much. You're watching We News. I'm Nellan Hunt in New York. We're speaking with Jennifer Lanvin, PR person, fashion maven, blogger, million shoe owner. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Oh, is that you? I can't believe that is you. So long I see you. Give me a wine now. Give me a wine now. Give me the wine that I want. Long time, long time. So long I see you. Give me a wine now. Give me a wine now. And I will make up for all this time. Make up for all this time.
back for We News. I'm Nellen Hunt telling you thank you so much for joining us. We are speaking with Jennifer Lanvin today, rather. Lanvin, I'm thinking fashion. Valentin. I'm all Jennifer, you're getting me there.
I like Lanvin. That's
You're getting me there. And before we went to break, we talked about styling with Jennifer. I mean, you all may think it looks like a nice little white top. It's actually a nice white, glistening, glittery, and the earrings. I can tell you put yourself together for this. You know, looking fashionable and everything. And we decided that we were going to style me for an evening out on the town.
Yes.
So let's go.
Okay. So first of all, where are you going? What's the occasion?
I'm going bar hopping with friends, but I might want to go out a little later to go to the disco or something. Do people say disco anymore? I'm so
And there's no discos open, but let's imagine they are.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so I got it. So I think that a foolproof outfit that will get you from one place to the next with no problems without looking overly dressed up, because believe it or not, just as much as you should be well dressed, you should not be overdressed for certain occasions, I feel like.
Okay.
So I think a dark, kind of like the same color as the top you have on, a dark pair of jeans, but even if darker, fitted well, not overly fitted, but you know, a good fit.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm thinking with some Chelsea boots, which are generally like the suede boots, that kind of, they go right at your ankle. I'm not sure if you know what they look like, but they're
I have an idea. Yes.
They're very fashionable. Maybe in a suede tan color, right?
Okay.
Okay. I'm thinking a white button up top. White button up, right? With I'm imagining a navy blue suede blazer.
Ooh, fancy, suede. Yes. So I cannot show this episode to any of my friends.
I'm sorry, not suede, velvet.
Oh, even fancier. I'm not showing this episode to my friends because they'll say, you see, listen to the woman, go and buy the clothes. So no, they're not seeing this episode because then they'll expect it all the time. And I can't spoil that.
Yes. And if you want to be fancy, you could wear a fedora hat. But I think, you know, I think without the fedora is okay too. Because I think the outfit speaks for itself.
Yeah. So is it true? I've heard it said that when you're about to go out the door, take one thing off. Is that true?
It depends on where you're going. Yes, I do agree. Sometimes some people over accessorize. And when it comes to jewelry, they always say the rule of thumb is if you have on a necklace, you don't need to have too much on your wrist or too much on your fingers. So, or your earrings, like, you know, do men wear earrings anymore? I don't see it much anymore.
I don't know, just a little stud here and there, or a tiny hoop once in a while. I see some people, but it's not as big as it used to.
Yes, yeah. I think with men, one statement piece is great. If you're wearing a nice watch, I think that's all you need.
Watch.
Okay. Unless you're a rapper, you don't need to have a chain and a watch. I mean, come on.
Bling.
Most normal people don't need to have that much jewelry. Now, women, on the other hand, we can kind of do more with our jewelry, but
the unfair advantage. You get to wear all this stuff. Jennifer, what's the name of your blog and where do we find it?
It's called stilettogoddess.blogspot.com. Usually if you type in Stiletto Goddess blog, you'll find me on Google, and that's the same as my Instagram is I am Stiletto Goddess. I post more on my Instagram these days than I do on my blog. I'm trying to change that, but Instagram is you know, it's the king of social media right now. Well, maybe TikTok, but you know.
But in TikTok you have to dance or something.
Exactly, which, you know, it's a lot of time consuming. But so I am Stiletto Goddess on Instagram, and stilettogoddess.blogspot.com is my blog.
Wow.
And
Jennifer, thank you so very much for teaching us and me so very much. Now I have to go get poor buying all these clothes you're making me wear now to go out to line with my friends, but it's supposed to be worth it. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching us today. It's We News and Melon saying thank you so much. Jennifer Valentin, you've heard her blogs, you've heard her advice. Check it out. It will help you. I guarantee you. The next time you all see me, you won't recognize. Thank you so much, Jennifer.
Thank you. This was so much fun. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Stay safe, everyone.